Hello friends and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another tutorial on ISTQB Advance Test Manager certification. We are in chapter 4 and completed with all the tutorials of this. Now moving ahead to take some quick sample questions to understand the pattern of the questions which you can expect from this chapter and the topics which we have covered. In order to get started, the very first thing we are talking about the distributions of question from this chapter, where the first thing is of course to understand that what number of questions you can expect. And we have got 4 major topics to be covered here in this particular chapter, where 2 questions will be at K3 level from 4.2.1 and 4.3.1, whereas the other 2 will be at K2 level, and that covers 4.2.2 and 4.4.1. So we have altogether 4 mandatory questions and definitely good level of questions to be asked to you. To get started, the very first question we are having here is a diagram, or I can say the defect tracking lifecycle based. And here we are just trying to pick up the right set of options in order to replace those undefined states in the diagram. So there is a diagram provided to you where you can see that there are certain states which are not basically marked with the status and called as state X, Y, and Z. Now we have to identify those states which would be the best applicable there, and we have to pick the right answer in that case. So let's look at the question here. The diagram shows an incomplete defect management process where 3 states, that is state X, Y, and Z, have yet to be named appropriately. Which of the following would completely or correctly complete the process? Select one option. Now in that, first of all, you may not have to look at the options as well. There's a very well defined approach to make use of, and here you can actually start recalling your knowledge about the defect tracking journey and pick up the right answers right there itself. Now if you see, let's start with the state X. The state X has a path from tested to the state X, and from state X going back to the assigned. Now if you see the cycle from assigned, it says assigned, resolved, tested. Now this is talking about the confirmation testing, which is in turn called as retesting. So developer has resolved your issue and sent it back for the confirmation testing, and this testing means that you conducted retesting or confirmation testing, but your defect is still existing. Now of course the only state what you will have to send it back to the assigned state is reopened. Of course, the reopen will bring it back to the assigned state, which will be reassigned to the developer in order to rework on it and fix the issue once again and send it back for testing. Now coming to the state Y, the state Y has two-way communication from 2 different stages. That means from try-age to state Y and from assigned to state Y. Now there is a possibility that the defect which you have raised is unable to be reproduced by the developer, or probably it was a misunderstanding of the tester when the tester reported this defect, or probably a false positive or false negative. Then the only thing which can happen in that case is rejected. That means a developer can reject the issue if the defect does not exist, or if the test manager finds that the tester reported a defect which was just related to a typographical error or maybe a misunderstanding of the tester, can also be rejected right from the try state. So state Y goes for rejected. Well, the last one is state Z, and here we see that it can be reached from the assigned state or even from the try-age state. And that can be really important to understand that we are missing one of the most important status still in the diagram, which is called as deferred. Now why deferred and how deferred? Because once I report a particular defect and the management committee decides that this is a defect, accepted, but we will not be fixing this right now, probably in the upcoming versions or maybe later in the life cycle. So I can mark it right from the try-age to the deferred state. Also, when it reaches to the assignment to the developer and developer says that no, we need some more information, or probably this requirement is not having any detail about resolving this issue, or the customer in fact is not sure what to do here. So we pushing this to a deferred state. So actually the state Z stands for deferred, which can be reached out from try-age directly or sometime from assigned state as well. Well, that was the understanding for this particular question. Now let's come to the options, and we see that very straightforward. There is only one option which could be right here, that is option B. So the right answer here is B, that is state X as reopened, state Y as rejected, and state Z as deferred. Moving to the next question here, we have got another scenario based question, but yet very important to be understood. You are the test manager on a project where system testing is being performed on software being provided by a third party. You have received a complaint from the third party that the completeness of the defect data from your system testing is unacceptable. The following list of information items has been identified as potentially missing from the defect report being sent to the third party. Which items do you think are most important to add to the defect reports? You have to select two options as we have more than 4 options listed below. So we have got 5 options here to select, but we only have got 2 right answers, which you need to understand that what would be important thing to be shared with a third party organization, not internally. So the only constraint which you have here to consider is that you are pushing a detail to a third party organization and they might not have access to or proper communication with the development organization and system testing team. So we just want to have an idea that what important things should be shared with them in order to make them better understand that what is the defect is all about. So here we got option A, the project activity occurring when the problem was detected. So I think that is important, but not so mandatory in terms of determining that will this be really required to be done at that point of time or not. So if we look at this option, it says the third party already knows that these defects report are coming from a dynamic system testing. So I really don't have to highlight that what exactly was the activity occurring which helped you to detect the problem. So system testing is very well declared in the scenario and you don't really have to mention that. Look at option B, steps to reproduce the failure along with the actual and expected result. I think this is the most important thing which anyone would need, be it third-party organization or internal developers. These steps, which is like the expected and actual results, will help them understand the defect, and the expected results will confirm that the tester understood what was exactly expected. So yes, that's one of the things. The priority to fix them, as we are talking about an outsourced organization, the third party needs to know this information to aid their prioritization and assist them with resolving the issues. So priority will be something really important to tell the third party organization in what order you want them to resolve. So I think we almost got our answer, but let's look at the D and E if in case we have a better suggestion there. The technical type of the defect, I think phase of detection is already available. That is like system testing, which we have, and the phase of removal, hopefully by the time when you remove it, is not known right now. So I cannot just determine the type of defect which might be required at this point of time. And incorrect, that is the E, the life cycle phase of introduction, detection and removal of the defect. And I think again this is not the tester responsibility to determine the location of the defect in the system, because that can only be done at the point of root cause analysis, which will be provided by the third party after analyzing the root cause. So at this point the right answer is B and C, that is steps to reproduce the failure along with the actual and expected result and the priority to fix the problem. Moving to the next, the number question 3, it has been decided that the first step to test and development process improvement within your organization will be to reduce the number of defects introduced during the development. So we have got some improvement ideas here as per the scenario, and that is to reduce the number of defects introduced during development. Which of the following defect report statistics will be most useful in fulfilling this goal or aim? Select one option. We have got 4 options here. Let's start with the A, the life cycle phases of introduction, detection and removal for the defect. Again, the phase of introduction may be useful, but the detection and removal info are not useful for reducing defect and introduction, because identification will definitely tell you where these defects were identified, can definitely to certain help can be added here in order to analyze and reduce the defect, but not from the detection and removal point of view, because that's only to give you the data that where exactly you detected it, but that cannot directly fulfill the goal and aim what you may have. Let's look at B, the defect root cause information. Now this information will definitely show you where defects are currently introduced, and so we can target these activities to prevent future defect introduction. So this is quite straightforward, that this information, root cause information, will actually help you to determine where exactly you are getting the defects and why you are getting the defects, and that can definitely help you to achieve your goal of reducing the defects as a part of the development specific defects introduction. When you look at C, the defect component information, again, this is used for defect clustering information to basically target the components that need extra testing, but does not directly help in preventing the defects. So that's not our one of the components for the end goal. And D, the defect removal efficiency information. Again, I think as you look at the option, it sounds irrelevant. That this just tells you how efficient we are at removing the defect. It does not help with the reducing the number of introduced defects at any point of time. So at this point, the right answer is B, the defect root cause information would help you to overcome the reduction of the defects at a development stage or with detailed information. Well, that was all from this particular tutorial, team. Should you have anything else with you, feel free to comment below. We'll be getting started with the next chapter in the very next tutorial. Stay tuned for that. Now, should you have anything else with you, please let me know, and I'm there to assist you and respond to your queries. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for watching the video, team, and happy learning.